It's no secret. Money laundering and tax evasion is happening in the EU. But who are the key players and what are their tricks? How much does that affect the EU economy, the member states and the citizens? And what are the responsibilities of the EU and its member states? In April 2016, the first news reports based on the Panama Papers shook the world, revealing the extent of the offshore secrecy business. Wealthy people, political leaders, celebrities, sports stars, but also fraudsters and drug traffickers were using offshore structures to conceal assets from the authorities. In order to investigate this matter further, the European Parliament established the Panama Papers Inquiry Committee. Its main task: to explore the key issues revealed by the Panama Papers and to assess the strengths and weaknesses of applicable EU legislation. The committee thus aims at sending a clear political signal to the European Commission, the member states and all relevant stakeholders. In order to support its mission, the committee approved the preparation of a series of research studies that explore various aspects unveiled by the Panama Papers and provide evidence-based findings that will inform the committee's work. First, the impact of money laundering and tax evasion on the economy. Given the level of opacity surrounding offshore practices, losses for the economy are difficult to quantify or estimate accurately. Therefore, the studies examine, for a sample of EU member states, the consequences of the practices revealed by the Panama Papers on the economy and national finances. Second, the designs and patterns of money laundering and tax evasion schemes. The studies provide an overview of the most common structures that enable these practices. Third, the EU legal framework. In light of the new revelations, the adequacy and the proper implementation of the EU legal framework is assessed, covering the successive anti-money laundering directives. The studies take a close look, in particular, at the role of banks and so-called intermediaries. The aim of this analysis is also to establish what rules apply to intermediaries and to assess if these intermediaries have fulfilled their obligations to comply with EU legal framework. Fourth, the laws and structures in place at the member state level and the performance of national administrations and judiciaries. An analysis of the national laws and of the powers and capacities of member state bodies responsible for handling tax avoidance, evasion, fraud and money laundering is provided. Finally, the limits of international cooperation in this field are examined. Offshore structures and practices have cross-border dimensions, including oversight of EU member states over their overseas territories. The studies will also provide an overview of existing EU and international cooperation instruments, bilateral trade and investment agreements. The scale of tax evasion and money laundering is affecting the lives of all of us. The studies prepared for the Panama Papers Inquiry Committee shed light on these damaging practices and their effects on the economy of the EU. In a context of successive tax scandal revelations, these studies will hopefully help to design sound evidence-based policies and improve the welfare of EU citizens.